What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim, back with another video, and today I want to give you guys my review of Astro Bot Rescue Mission for the PlayStation VR. Now, if you're like me and you have had VR for a while, you may recognize this character, or at least some of the gameplay mechanics, because it was first introduced in the Playroom VR, which was a sort of demo disc that came with the PlayStation VR. It had a bunch of mini games just kind of introducing you to VR. Among one of those games was a rescue mission with the Astrobots, and out of all the games on that disc, I have to say that was by far the most fun one that my wife and I had. So when Astro Bot Rescue Mission got a proper release, absolutely scooped it up, and I wanted to give you guys my impressions on it today. It's really a lot of fun. Now, normally when I do gameplay videos, I am front and center, and or gameplay's front and center, and then I'm in the corner. This time I've inversed it, and if you notice, I'm actually a bigger part of the screen. And right now, I'm not even showing you my gameplay. I'm showing you the teaser trailer from the Astrobots YouTube video, kind of showing you the gameplay mechanics. The reason I'm doing that is VR is incredibly difficult to capture and record, and it's incredibly nauseating if you are not playing it. So the PlayStation burner reel has a lot better static cameras and more frame shots to kind of give you an idea of what it's about. After that video runs, it's about 2 minutes or so, it will jump over to some of my gameplay. I did my best not to look around wildly and crazily, but I wanted to keep it small, so if you want to see a little of it, it's there, but if you want to just focus on me and what I'm saying, you have that option as well. Let me get this out of the way and tell you guys this game is phenomenal, and to me it is the tech demo and the be-all end-all of what VR could be. Now, the problem is with a lot of VR games is you get that VR nausea, and that's because your eyes say you're moving, but your equilibrium and your brain and your ears, you're not. And you get into this really weird lull. Everybody experiences it. They fall over, they get tipsy, they don't understand what's going on, they lose track of where they are when they're standing up, walking around. Thankfully, Astro Bot is mostly a static game. You're playing as Captain Astro with your DualShock 4, and that's what you're using to control the game. Behind Astro Bot is your actual avatar, and you look like this giant mothership. You can see yourself in reflections, you can see your shadow and everything. And as Astro Bot runs away from you in a fairly linear level from, back of the screen to into the screen, you're slowly moving behind him. Now, that works really, really well for people who have a hard time with what they call free locomotion, in which you are freely moving. Think of Skyrim, think of where you're running and looking to the right and, running to the left or something like that. This game doesn't have that. So if you're somebody who kind of likes VR, but you're a little timid about maybe getting nauseous while playing, this game is definitely one of those much more slow paced. It's not completely static, but it's very, very slow paced, and it's something that you're not going to have to get too much, you're not going to get too dizzy over. Now, one thing I want to point out is that if you really want to get into all the nooks and crannies of the game, which I still have yet to even talk about, and I will in a second, is I want you to understand that you don't play seated. You're actually going to be up moving around a little bit. And the reason you're doing that is the game has a lot of really intricate levels, even though you are only going in one direction, where there's things that'll be blocking your way. And sometimes you're going to have to look behind you. Sometimes you have to look up to the side or down or lean over something and look down like below your feet. You're not going to be able to do that from a seated position. So you're going to want to stand up if you want to fully experience this game and get all the collectibles and really, really enjoy it. The best way I could describe this game is a Super Mario Brothers 64 or Super Mario World type game where you're jumping into very themed levels with a very clear objective. Now, unlike the Mario games where you'll go into each level numerous times to, climb to the top of the mountain or defeat the bomb or, collect 10 coins or whatever. In Astro Bot Rescue Mission, all you're trying to do is get to the end. Along the way, you're trying to collect coins, Astrobots that have been scattered throughout the world, and each level has a hidden chameleon. If you look at the chameleon for a few seconds, it'll unlock a bonus level that you can play later on, and I'll talk about those in a second as well. So the main objective, get to the end. Along the way, see if you can find all these fun things to do. I like the game because it's bite-sized. Each world is very, very different. Each level is themed extremely different. You might be in a cave, you might be on a mountain, you might be in a construction site, you might be in a desert. and all of the enemies and all of the music and the ambiance really sells itself well. And I think that's a definite bonus for this game, that you have these bite-sized missions where they could really go crazy, and you might really love one level and really hate the next one, but there's a lot of variety to enjoy, and I think that's something that really helps this game out a lot. So this game has boss fights, which is something that's really cool. So at the end of each world, you're going to go up against the boss, these larger-than-life boss fights. You're going to have to use different mechanics to defeat them. That's really a lot of fun. Why are you collecting Astrobots? Well, the reason you're collecting Astrobots is at the beginning, this giant evil alien comes and steals all the Astrobots and scatters them across the galaxy, takes this magic VR headset for his own, and wreaks havoc on the world. And it's up to Captain Astro to go out and save the day. Now, the really cool thing about collecting them is you're going to need them to unlock certain levels. So you get a certain point, very similar to Mario with the stars, you're going to have to cash in like 20 or 30 Astrobots in order to open up the next area. So it's important to get them. And most of them are pretty easy to find. You hear them screaming for help, and you just run over and grab them, and then you collect them. Some of them, as I mentioned before, when you want to stand up and walk around, if you want to be a true completionist, there are some that are pretty well hidden. Sometimes they're under platforms, or they're behind you, or they're up over something, and you kind of have to almost stand on your tippy toes while you're playing to kind of look down and guide your character in the right direction. That's really a lot of fun. So there's a lot of replayability, at least in getting all those things. There's coins as well. The coins are used to cash in for this play space. So going back to the Playroom VR, one of the big mechanics that it had was you collected these coins from all these mini games, and you went into this giant room and you could buy basically play sets to play with inside a little bit of a world. And Astro Bot Rescue Mission has the same thing with different themes. So for example, you might set the theme that's like a beach scene, so it looks like a beach, but it's empty because there's nothing there. And as you get coins, you can unlock things like a volleyball court, or a beach towel, or a pool to swim in. And you can just run around and play, and it's just fun, it's different. It's kind of a relaxing way. I don't know. To me, it's kind of like a warm-up almost to VR, and then it's kind of like a cool-down because it's very static, and you're just kind of enjoying the ambiance. And I think somebody who's like, I want to see what VR is all about, that's a great way to get somebody introduced into that. And it's fun to collect all the things. Your character interacts with them in goofy different ways. There's other little Astrobots that have you rescued. They all hang out in the tank, and before you know it, you're going to have tons of these guys running around doing all these different activities, and it's almost like a mini version of The Sims, and I do like that. Talked about the coins, talked about the chameleon challenges. The chameleon challenges are also pretty difficult. Those are the hardest. They're always either time-based or score-based. Run to the end of a unique mission, a different level under a certain amount of time, or get so many points. Typically, it utilizes the main mechanic of the mission that you found the chameleon in. So, for example, the construction level, you get a attachment for your controller where you swing the D-pad forward, and it makes a little grappling hook. And then you could have your little Astrobot run the grappling hook, and if you lift up, he'll launch in the air, and it's almost like a trampoline. Well, the associated chameleon mission is basically that, except you're pulling things closer to you and breaking walls, and you're trying to have your Astrobot run through a level in a very quick amount of time. So those are fun challenges too. Those are other ways to get additional bots if you're having a hard time finding them or getting to them in the main game. Chameleons are usually pretty easy to find. Just look in the most obscure place, which I know it sounds kind of contradictory, but it's usually pretty clear where they are. So there's nothing really challenging about this game. It's a very simple but fun platformer with lots of great mechanics, a lot of cool replayability and uncovering and finding all the different parts of the level. Going into the playroom area and playing around with all the stuff that you found is really a lot of fun as well. And it's just a really cool game. I really recommend it. To me, like I said, in terms of VR, when you're talking about like what is a great VR game, this is a great VR game. People will not get really dizzy playing this. It's easy to control, it's fun, the music is bright and vibrant. It's like a kid's game, but it also has a lot of, not mature platforming, but more difficult platforming. And there is a lot of Easter eggs and kind of like moving your head around and trying to find all the hidden treasures that I think you're going to have adults being a little more entertained. I'm a 36-year-old guy, and I'm ranting and raving about it. If I had to give it a score on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 9. It's just a little bit off perfection, mostly because it's a little on the short side. There's not as many worlds as I liked, and as fun as the boss battles are and all the time challenges with the chameleon stuff are, if you know what you're doing, you start getting a platform, and you can start clearing out the game pretty fast. I got through the first world a 100% complete run without any kind of guides or anything like that. Just me sitting up there with the dog, working our way through it. I beat the first level 100% complete with all the chameleon challenges in about an hour and 15 minutes. And that was me going back a few times because I had a hard time finding things. So there's 5 different worlds that you go through. It's about a 5-hour experience. And the fact that they're asking, I believe $30 for it right now. Maybe it's 40. I don't know. I got it on a Black Friday sale. It'd be nice if it was a little bit longer. And I'd like to see more of this. But that's the only thing I could really critique it on. The gameplay, the mechanics, the fun factor of it, it's all there in spades. Highly recommend it. Name the game Astro Bot Rescue Mission on PlayStation VR. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.